I'm going to share my screen and we'll just get going.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So what we're going to go over today, we're going to start with the basic setup of Appellate just to review it, since it's been a while since you've been in. And then I'll get into the workflow process, so how to process a submission from start to finish. And then at the end, I'll show you where some additional resources are for you. There are a few different ways you can submit to with an Appellate. You're a premium user, so there are 4 ways for you. I know you said you're kind of teetering between keeping the premium versus the free version. The free version only has 2 ways that you can submit to with an Appellate.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you remember your password. If you haven't, if you forget it, just click on forgot password, and you can reset it right here.
Hang on just a moment. I know it's john@thinkable.com, and the password, because I haven't done anything, so.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, hang on.
Your username will always be your work email address, however you signed up with it.
Right, yeah, it's john@thinkable, john@think, April like the month.com.
Perfect.
Let me look here. Appellate.
And you don't have to sign in if you don't want to. If you just want to watch, that's fine. If you want to follow along, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's one. Okay. All right. Okay, we can use yours, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you manually sign into Appellate via the website, you're going to be taken to your Appellate dashboard. I like to tell people this is kind of like your home page. This is where you will find your insureds. Once you start to work on your insureds in the system, this is where they will populate. So this is where you'll go to kind of choose from. You're my first training today, so I don't have anybody in the system. That's why mine's empty.
All right.
The very first thing, and you probably already have these 2 downloads, but I just want to make sure and review them with you. So Appellate Uplink. Uplink is a simple print driver that allows you to bridge over your completed Accord forms into Appellate. Therefore, it eliminates the need to rekey any of the data that you include on your Accord forms. I like to tell people the more thorough your Accord forms are filled out to begin with, the less manual work that you have to do in Appellate.
Okay.
Uplink complements any agency management system. And with that said, if you don't have an agency management system or a completed Accord form, you can always start directly with an Appellate using this add new customer or prospect button. So this is how you would manually add them if you don't have completed Accord form.
Yeah. Do you work integrated with Now Search?
We are working on a certificate platform actually.
And Now Search is actually AM agency management system.
Oh, are they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so we'll integrate from any agency management system. The only thing is we don't integrate back into the agency management system unless it's next year.
Unless it's next year. Okay. That's another company. Okay, good. All right. Okay, go ahead.
So Uplink is up on this top dashboard up top under Tools. Appellate Uplink is what you're looking for. And again, you might already have this just as a review, but if you don't, click on upload or download Uplink driver button. This one takes like a minute to install, and you do have to close out Microsoft Outlook if you use Outlook. But once it's installed, Uplink will show up as a printer driver option for you.
Okay.
So next is Weblink, and Weblink, you'll go back up to Tools, click on Appellate Weblink. Weblink is a browser-specific extension that allows you to bridge over duplicate data from Appellate to the carrier portals that a Weblink connection has been developed for. If you end up moving over to the free version, excuse me, you won't need this. I gotta grab some water. Sorry, I should have come.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time. I understand. I
the most talking I've done this week.
Yeah. Yeah, we can actually make this short, and then, just go the basic difference between free and the premium, and then we can follow up when you get better, hopefully sometime.
I'll do as much as I can if I run into that. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So to download, you'll just click on this Get Extension button. This one's super quick. It's like 10 seconds to install. And once it's installed, it'll be ready to bridge over duplicate data from Appellate to Weblink carriers. Again, this is part of our premium version. So if you move to standard, you wouldn't need this Weblink portion because Weblink is a submission style. And as standard user, you wouldn't have access to Weblink.
Okay.
So Uplink is taking duplicate data from the Accord forms and inputting it into Appellate. It kind of creates your insurance profile, whereas Weblink is taking duplicate data from Appellate and moving it into carrier portals that we've developed a connection with. So it kind of creates your submission. Any questions on those?
No.
Okay. So next, just to review markets. So markets is up top as well. Selected markets, you want to think of your agency as your agency's private library of markets. So this should be a list of markets that your agency represents or you're currently appointed with.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're ready to add markets, and I'm sure you already have markets in here, but just as a review, when you want to add markets, click on Available. Available is kind of like the public library of markets. Everybody has access to these markets. And I will go over these little icons with you once we get to those that part. But you can see down here, there's thousands of items in here. So I highly recommend searching who you might be looking for. So let's say you work with Liberty Mutual. Type them in, and you can, once you're ready to add them, all the way to the right-hand side is this little plus button. And that action just moves them into your private library. And then the last thing, and this one's kind of a labor of love. People tend to skip over it because it does take a little bit, but I highly recommend not skipping this section. So if you click on your name in the upper right-hand corner, down at the bottom is this market login section. So this section right here allows you to input your credential information for the markets that have portals that you're going to still quote in. So it allows you to input your username, your password, and if applicable, a producer code. The login type, and I think you're the only one that uses it in your agency. Is that right?
Yeah,
You might have one more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't played with it, so yeah, it's something
Okay.
I have to kind of review it. Yeah.
Okay. I like to tell people whenever you update your password with carrier portals, usually it's 60 to 90 days, whatever they require. Just make sure you come back in here and update your password as well. So inputting your credential information when you're doing submissions in Appellate will automatically allow Appellate to sign you into that portal instead of stopping you and making you input it. So it does save a little bit of time while you're like in the thick of it trying to do your submission.
Okay.
And then you'll just click save. And that's really the last piece of setup. So now I'll get into the workflow portion of Appellate. And I'm going to start with my Accord form because I'm going to uplink my Accord form. But before I open up my Accord form, I just like to ask people not to focus on the line of business I'm using for my example, but how I'm processing the submission instead. I just say that because regardless of the line of business that you're working on, the workflow will look exactly the same as you'll see me do it today. So even though I'm going to do a work comp submission, which you might quote work comp, but and work comp tends to require pretty minimum information, but the workflow wouldn't change if you've been doing a business auto or a BOP or even a package policy, whatever line of business you're working on. It may require you to fill out more information, but it'll look exactly the same, the workflow portion of it.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Uplink, and there's two ways you can utilize Uplink. First, you just open up your Accord form wherever you keep it. Mine's just on my desktop. You might have yours in your agency management system. So you'll open it up, click your print button, and then you'll print it into Appellate Uplink. You'll click print, and then a pop-up appears asking you to validate your Appellate credentials. The second way to utilize Uplink is a popular shortcut. You simply just right-click on those Accord forms and choose Uplink from the drop-down menu, and then that pop-up appears, asks you to validate your credentials again. Some people like shortcuts. Some people don't like shortcuts until they have an understanding of the system and the process down. So it's really there for you to utilize whichever way is comfortable for you.
Good.
Once your credentials are confirmed, your workstation is going to open Appellate and ask you to confirm the desired line of business that you want to work on. So if I drop this down, I uplinked an Accord 130. So the system is smart enough to know that an Accord 130 most likely applies to these 5 lines of business that we're recommending. But if that doesn't fit what you're looking for, you also have access to all of the lines of business in Appellate. So you're not just stuck with these recommended ones, you have all the other ones. So I'm going to choose work comp and click continue. And that takes me to the Smart Q&A section. Before we start the first submission, just going over a few things with you. This tab right here where it says CycleWorks Garden Center, this is your master insured tab. It was automatically created based off of the information that was provided on the Accord form. The tab will not change unless you change or add additional information to it. There's also a contact section in here. So Nicole populated because I included her as a contact on my Accord form, so she's in here already. But if you don't include a contact on your Accord form or you have several that you need to add, to the right-hand side, you can add a new contact. This big tab right here, this is your submission tab. It's labeled with the line of business that you're working on, the effective date, and the current status of your submission. If you ever need to change your effective date because things happen, just click on the date. You can type it in or use the calendar, whichever you prefer, and choose whatever date you need to change it to. If the date is changed, all currently existing forms and any newly added forms will automatically update with the new effective date. So you don't have to go back to those original Accords that you uplinked and change the date yourself. Appellate will actually do it for you. I also like to add my contact to the main record in case I need to email them or send them a questionnaire to fill out. So over to the right-hand side is this no main contact, and I'm just going to add Nicole. Any questions?
If you want to email, does it go directly from Appellate, or how does it work when you have some question or whatever that you want to email Nicole?
Yeah, you can email out of Appellate. If you're wanting to send her a questionnaire to fill out, like if you have some information, but you need her to fill in the blanks, you can email out of the system and it sends the contact a link that they'll click on. I'll show you that in a second, but okay. They'll click on a link and they'll fill out the information that you're needing. And then once they fill it out, it automatically saves in Appellate. So you don't have to go fill out anything manually yourself.
Okay, good.
So now I'm going to review
one more question. Sorry to. So right now, right now you explained on the Accord form, but some company they have supplementary form, supplement form. Okay, is that already inside the Appellate or?
I am getting
you have
into
to
that
upload
right
it
now, actually. Yes,
go ahead. Sorry about that. Yeah,
that's okay. So in this form section to the left-hand side, I'm going to review a few things before I get into the supplementals, but here's my original Accord that uplinked. If you don't uplink an Accord 125 as a premium user, the Accord 125 will automatically generate for you. And any information that's duplicate from the Accord 130 will populate into the 125 for you. So that is a premium feature. If you went to standard, you would lose access to the Accord form. If you know you might need additional Accord forms, click on this view all forms right here. And once you click, the list shown will be those that apply or could apply to the line of business that you're working on. So if you know you need your 133 for this work comp submission, just check this little box. And again, any duplicate information will populate onto those Accord forms for you. So next is the supplemental forms. These are market supplementals. So these supplemental forms are added to your submission based off of 2 factors. The first is the line of business that you're working on, and the second are the markets that you've selected. And again, this is also a premium feature. So to populate your supplementals, you'll just click on this little plus button right here. And then you'd add the markets that you want to submit your risk to. Maybe you're going to a few places, maybe just one place. It's really up to you who you're marketing the account to. I also like to take a minute to talk about this open brokerage market section. So this open brokerage market section is available to everybody, and you can submit and get a quote back from any of the markets you see under this open brokerage market section without having an appointment with them. So if you're ever having a hard time placing something, or you're curious to what their product or pricing is like, feel free to utilize any of these markets right here. I will say it is based off of the line of business and the location of your insured. So the example I always tell people is State Fund First is California only. So if you have an insured outside of California, this wouldn't even be an option for you. So they do appear and disappear based off of line of business and location.
Will it actually choose the industry itself? Like, you know, some workers' comp company, they want to do construction, for instance. So will it actually pre-select and say, okay, these are the insurance company that will do construction?
Yes.
It does. Good.
Yep, it is based off of line of business. Yes, very good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that my markets have been added, all supplemental forms that apply to my desired market and my line of business have been added for me. So there's an A supplemental and a Westlake GA supplemental. All of the data from my original Accord 130 has been dispersed to the supplementals you see right here. So this Westlake GA, for example, if I open it up, it's fairly complete based off of the bridge data from my Accord 130, and it saves me some time by not having to fill this out manually. If you ever need to edit any of these forms, to the right-hand side are little edit buttons. You just click on it. This Accord form, it takes you to a line-by-line option, but most agents prefer to see the form. So just go up here and change it to inline, and then it takes you to the form to edit information. Anywhere you see a pencil is where you can edit information. So I'll fill out my limits right here. If you are editing something on one form that is on another form, so I'm inputting my limits, and that was also on my supplemental form for Westlake GA, you only have to edit one form and it'll bridge over to any other form that's duplicate with that same question. If you end up staying premium and you go through your markets and you know that there's a supplemental form that is not in our system, email me and I'm happy to get it in the queue to be added. We just need agents to share that information with us because we don't have every single supplemental form in our system, but we definitely strive to. Okay, so to the right-hand side, there's also these additional options with these three little dots. If you click on them, this reveals the option to send via email, via fax, sign forms or request signatures from your insured, or send a questionnaire to your insured to complete. You also have the option to send multiple forms to your insured to complete by going back into this Smart Q&A section. And towards the right-hand side is the Send Q&A option. So this is the option that allows you to select exactly what you want your insured to answer specifically. So most of the time, you have to write your email out, send it off. They answer the questions you need them to answer. And then you usually have to manually input all that information. This is a great way to kind of save some time. So let's say we want all of the questions for all of these markets. So click OK. I just need to input an email address for my insured. Click save. Oh. Once you click save, an email will automatically generate for you. At the top of the email, it's going to ask you to configure your mail server if you haven't yet. Highly recommend completing this step before sending out any emails, and that's because this will allow Appellate to send the email out directly as you instead of on behalf of you. If you configure your mail server, it also puts a copy of the email in your email server's outbox. And I can show you where that is.
Yeah.
And it's in the settings portion, but I'll show you after I talk about this one.
Okay, sure.
So once you click send, the system will send a link to your insured via email. Your insured will click this mobile-friendly link. They can open it up on their phone, tablet, computer, whatever they want to use. And they'll complete the questions that are presented to them in a clear and clean Q&A view. Once the questions have been completed, you'll receive an email notification that your insured updated this questionnaire. And when you log back into Appellate, you'll see that all of the data that your insured provided has automatically saved in the Appellate platform for you. So it does take some time, but it does save some time, and it's a great way to kind of bypass you having to manually type up an email of what you need for your insured.
Okay, and those questionnaire, is that coming from the quote form and the supplement application? How do we select which questionnaire we want to ask the insured?
Yeah, so you can do market questions, you can do default, you can do all questions. If you're looking to just send the supplemental form, you can just email the supplemental form.
I see. So basically what it is, it's any question, let's say if you put a quote, it will ask all the questions that's in the quote, and then once they fill out, it will convert it back directly to them, right?
Yes,
something like that.
And if you want them to fill out everything in here, it would be all of these questions you see under these sections right here. So all of these underwriting questions they would fill out if it's mandatory. Okay. It's really, you get to customize what you want them to fill out, really.
I see. Okay, got it. So any question that's filled, any answer that has been filled will not be repeated in that question.
Correct. And they will see this exact view you see down here. Mm-hmm. It just won't have all of this market stuff and all of these things on the side. It's literally what you see down here is what they will see.
Okay, that's very good.
Just without all of the busyness up top and on the sides.
Right. Okay.
So configuring your mail server really quick before we dive into the first market. So if you go up to setup and under settings, the 7th option is mail server. You'll just click on configure, and you may have already done this. But what you'll need, it depends on if you have an SMTP server or an MS Exchange. If you have an SMTP server, you just need your server name with the port number. And then MS Exchange, you just need the URL. It really depends on what you use. And then your personal settings is just your username and password for your login.
Right. Got it.
All right. Any questions for me before we dive into the first market?
No. Oh, by the way, on the supplement, when you scan it, will actually, and if you, let's say, those fields, are they automatically, what do you call, become fillable? Let's say
when you're editing it?
Yeah, let's say I send the supplement. Those if I scan this and upload it to your system, will become editable? Yeah, editable. Right.
It should be. So you should be able to click edit, and so if you go back into forms, you can upload files and upload something if you already have a supplemental completed. If you don't want to complete if you don't want the supplemental that's in our system.
Yeah, but it also recognize if it has been answered in the supplement, right? And the rest, that's what the questionnaire that the insured need to fill out.
It will not show completed questions.
Okay, that's good.
It'll just show anything that's unanswered. Okay, so we're gonna dive into our first market, and these are I'm gonna go over the submission styles. So the first two that we're doing is part of standard. So if you end up moving to standard, you would still have access to these two submission styles. So we're gonna look at Westlake GA first, and Westlake GA has this clover next to their name, and this represents an Appellate style submission. Appellate style submission markets allow you to complete the entire rate, quote, and bind process for that market entirely within Appellate. So if it's an Appellate style submission, the underwriters also use our system to quote.
That's the best. I guess that's the best of everything is the Appellate logo on that. That does quoting and then also binding and all that, right? Complete.
Yep, it is. Appellate really is a submission management system. So you have your agency management system. We're definitely a submission management system.
Got it. Okay.
So you'll see some markets will have a lightning bolt in their name, and this represents a live API for that market, which means you have an opportunity to receive an instant bindable quote from that market, as long as the submission doesn't need to be referred back to underwriting. So it does depend on your answers that you give them, but if it's a pretty straightforward work comp one, there's a great chance that you'll get an instant quote back from that carrier.
Yeah, and it will come with the proposal, I suppose, right?
Yep, it'll come with a PDF document.
Yeah, in the PDF document, we can edit that or no?
No, you can't edit their quotes.
Okay, can we add broker fee on that? How do we do that? Maybe a separate broker fee on the proposal. You know, when we send a proposal.
If you're going to do some billing, I'll show you that when I'll actually show you an instant quote I get back from my answers. So I'll get there in just a minute.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we also have the power to select from the submarket list. So I'm going to go to AmTrust and Encino today. If you don't know who you want to market it to, feel free to utilize all of these submarkets you see right here. Again, it's really up to you who you want to market your account to. Once your submarkets are selected, in the middle of the screen are these colorful letter indicators. So these letter indicators can provide you with valuable information specific to your submission. If I hover over this red D that stands for decline, the market is telling us why they're declining this one. And on this one, the FEIN is already in the system because me and my training counterpart use this FEIN for every training we do. So it's a good chance that it's in the system on her end. But I just need to move a few numbers around because you can. So if you click on this down here, the link is actually live and dynamic, and the system takes the guesswork out of where a question is located, and it highlights it in a red box for you. So you don't have to go searching through these tabs trying to find the tiny FEIN letters. You click on the link and it takes you straight to the question that you need to revise or change. So I'm going to edit my FEIN with a number I've never used before. And now that I edited the FEIN, the letter indicator updated in real time, changing from a red D for decline to an orange A for pending acceptance. So I'm going to hover over this again and continue answering all of these. So these questions are being required by the market. They're not from Appellate, they're market requirements. Once you answer a question, it does get taken off of this list though. So in this section, I like to tell people there's a couple different ways you can answer these questions. If you want to, you can of course continue clicking on the link. It takes you straight to it and highlights it. But if you notice up top, there's a red number. That's the amount of questions in this section that's required to answer. They're also indicated with a red asterisk. So I tend to find myself staying in this section more than not. If you go through all of these questions and you know that the answer is no to all of them, to the right-hand side, you can mark them all no at one time. So a little shortcut for you.
Okay.
And then once you answer a question, this number does get updated as well. So I'm just going to go through here and answer all of my questions. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. So, you know, going back a little bit. So if there's another agent that submit, right? So it would say that another agent submit. That's why they cannot quote us. Okay. Then you change the federal ID number. I guess I'm supposed that's my federal ID if I'm doing it. Yeah. And then of course it changed. Is that what you're trying to relay that information?
Yeah, so the FEIN would be whoever your insured's FEIN number is. I make one up every time because this isn't a real insured. It's just a demo.
So this would be the insured.
But yep. But if you have competition with somebody and it's already in Appellate, it'll tell you it's blocking you because of that reason.
Okay. All right.
Last thing, just need to add my contact. When you add your contact, it's going to require you to assign a role. So maybe Nicole is the owner of the building. If that person has multiple roles in the company, feel free to list all of their roles. There's no cap on how many roles you can assign to somebody. And just a phone number. Okay, so now that I answered all of the missing and required questions, if you go back up, you can see that all of my letter indicators are now all green. Green is good. It's what you want every time you do a submission because it's going to allow you to click on request quote, and then it gets sent off to the underwriter to review.
Okay.
I'm in a testing environment, so I apologize. I'm going to be a little bit slower on my side than you'll see on your side. So just bear with me while this loads.
So A stand for what?
What was that?
Did A stand for what? The A, the one, A, letter A.
Oh, A is it's
Ready
available to submit.
Oh, available.
Yeah.
Okay. And next one, those
Yeah.
are information that they need. And what's that thing with the going back and forth, the circle with the line? Yeah, what's that?
The same.
Oh, that's the
this
detail.
is quote
Okay.
detail. So these are like your limits and stuff.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay. So now, AmTrust is live in our system. It's API. So I was actually able to receive an instant bindable quote from them based off of the answers I provided, while the other Submarket and CNO will need to have a quote uploaded by the underwriter. But when the underwriter uploads a quote on their end, you'll get an email letting you know that the quote is an Appellate for you to review.
Okay.
I don't know if you work with AmTrust or ever have in the past. I just like to show this to people.
I do.
Okay. So this is the quote format that you would always see with your AmTrust quote. So it does not change in Appellate. It'll be exactly what you're used to seeing.
Right.
I just like to tell people that in case they get a little worried. All right, so let's say you review this AmTrust quote, you go over it with your insured, they want to bind this quote. We're going to go to the right-hand side and refer to this orange request to bind button. Ours is orange because it's letting us know that we have to take care of some binding requirements first. So if you hover over it again, it tells you exactly what they need to bind this. So I need to get my Accord 130 signed and I need to upload loss runs. And both of these features are premium only, by the way, that I'm going to go into, the signed Accords and loss runner. So if you go into forms, we're going to go in line with the Accord 130 all the way to the right-hand side, click those three little dots and select sign. You would assign yourself as the agency representative, and then your insured's information will be down below. I'm just going to deselect them for today and click OK. Once you click OK, the form will then auto-populate for you to sign. And if you had an insured, it sends them a mobile-friendly link via email. It's kind of like DocuSign, just through Appellate. It's our signing system.
Mm-hmm.
Once your insured clicks the signature link, they're going to be taken through the exact same signature process I'm going to show you. So to start signing, you'll just click on this jumping green arrow, which takes you to the bottom of the Accord form to this orange box to click on. You just type your name in, save and insert, and then another jumping green arrow to finalize. And then you do have to check this box to agree to the terms and conditions of your signature and click sign.
Mm-hmm.
Once yourself as the producer or your insured signs the form, those signatures will auto-populate onto the form for you.
Mm-hmm.
All signatures obtained in Appellate are legal and binding in court, and an audit trail of all signatures will generate for you. So if you ever want to download that signed form or the audit trail, just go back to your Accord 130, click this arrow to drop it down, and to the right-hand side is your signed document and your audit trail.
Got it.
Okay, so that was the required signatures. Now we're going to go with loss runs. So we're going to go to the left-hand side, click on loss runs. And Agora West, you saw me kind of input Travelers on a little earlier, but Agora West was on my Accord forms when I uplinked them, so they automatically populated for me, so a little less manual work. But if you need to change anything, just click on Edit Insurance History. So maybe they were with Travelers an extra year. You type in a little bit of Travelers, and then you wait for this list to appear to choose from, And that's just because we have specific fax numbers and emails associated with these carriers. So you do have to choose from this list. You do have to fill it out year by year on this side of things, but once you click save, it will combine them on this screen.
Okay.
So let's say you have your loss runs, you're ready to attach them. If you go to the right-hand side, we'll use Travelers. Click on the 3 little dots and upload your loss runs, and they're in there for you. The next feature is premium, and it gets a lot of draw from people. So loss runner, and you'll see this right here, send loss runner. This allows you to send, essentially allows you as the agent to request loss runs on behalf of your insured in a few different ways. So let's say you're working on a new business prospect and you have a quote, you're ready to bind, but their current agent isn't giving you those loss runs, which those agents are out there. We all know that. Loss runner allows you to kind of bypass that agent and go straight to the market with your request. If you go to standard, you won't have this feature, but so Agora West will be our example on this one. So go to the right-hand side, click on send loss runner. The request type will automatically default to letter of authorization. The letter of authorization is the most commonly used request type in our system. And it does require your insured to sign it, because what a letter of authorization is, it's a letter from the insured directly to the insurance carrier, giving the carrier permission to return loss runs to you as the agent. So since it's a letter from the insured, the carrier does have to legally comply with this letter, because the insured is ultimately their client. So if you drop this down, we actually have a broker of record letter, agency loss run request letter, and an insured loss run request letter, but I'm going to talk you through letter of authorization. So starting at the top, Appellate will populate your insured's information. If this is ever red, just click on the little pencil. It'll tell you what's missing. It's followed by the market that you're requesting loss runs from, including this add market contact. So this is red, you have to click on it and drop this down, and you have to choose the fax number or email address you have to send it to request loss runs. So we do our best to have the accurate fax numbers and emails for loss run requests for the markets, but when they change things or add things, they don't tell us. So you do have a little diligence on your part to make sure you're choosing the accurate destination. If you don't see the fax number or email address in here and you know that's where you need to request them, just add new, and you can add an email or a fax number. So going back to the letter, it's followed by the policy number and the policy period for the insured. And then it concludes with the body of the letter itself, which provides the market with a return destination being yourself as the agent with your email address. And then your insured's information will be down below. Again, if this is ever red, just click the pencil. It'll tell you what's missing. So once you click send, Appellate will send a mobile-friendly link to the insured to sign this. In order for this to work, though, they do have to open it up electronically and sign it. They can't print it out and sign it and then return it to you. They have to electronically sign it. Once they sign it, it automatically gets sent out to this destination that you confirmed in the letter above. So that's why I said it's super important to make sure the fax number and email address is accurate. But once they sign it, you don't have to come back and do anything. Appellate automatically sends that letter out for you. I like to tell people to check this little box right here. So let's say, depending on your state statute, usually it's 7 to 14 days, depending on where you are. But let's just use the middle. In 10 days, if you don't have loss runs back from that market, Appellate will automatically send another signed letter out on your behalf. So again, no manual work to come in here and push any buttons. Just check the box, enter the amount of days.
So another word with this is that it goes to the insured first, and then once insurance signed, goes directly to the insurance company, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So Appellate will track and timestamp all actions related to loss runners. Sorry, my computer's a little lagging today.
But everything that you say here, is that going to be listed in the workflow? And if that's the case, where is it?
And what do you mean by that? Sorry.
Yeah. So let's say we have, 10 submission that we did. Okay. Some of them are letter of authorization. Some of them may be binding or signing the supplement form. We will list all that in one place, that and anything that's pending that we are waiting for the insured to sign, or they sign the application and all that. Will that be in one place, or like
For
workflow
binding
usually,
requirement?
or anything, whatever that, so we know the workflow where we are at on each client or each
So if it's a
prospect.
binding requirement, everything will be under that orange request to bind. Ours is not orange anymore because we don't have anything pending. But if it is like if you need to get a signed supplemental or anything, if it's an Appellate style submission, remember everything's done in our system. So they will tell you everything that they need to bind
Yeah.
coverage.
But this one is for the Cyber War Garden Center. How about the all of them? Whoa. Does it go in one place? So just to kind of keep track of what has been submitted and what has been requested to.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you go under activity, all of your activity is logged right
Perfect.
here.
That's what I'm looking.
For some reason, Loss Runner is not sending for me, but
That's okay.
we do track and timestamp all actions related to Loss Runner. The only thing that is not tracked in Appellate is when those loss runs are returned to by the market. So if you put your email address in that letter, that's where they're going to be returned to. So when you get those loss runs back, just come in here and attach them by clicking those three little dots and uploading your loss runs. It'll also track, or it'll also timestamp who uploaded the loss runs and when.
Okay, got it.
You will never lose this information either.
Mm-hmm.
So now that was our last binding requirement. So if we wanted to bind this AmTrust quote, we would just now click on the green request to bind, and it gets sent off to the underwriter to bind coverage.
Okay.
Any questions on that submission style? I know it's a lot of information.
Yeah, it's a lot of information I have to go over again. But okay. I have, let's see, start from beginning. I have a prospect who has 2 losses, and I got the loss run, and it's for apartment building. Tell me quickly, step by step, how do I start?
So if you have completed Accord forms, you would uplink your Accord forms. Yeah. So you would just print them into Appellate. You print them to Appellate Uplink. It creates your insured. When that pops up, when it gets you into Appellate, you have to confirm what line of business
let's
you're
slow
doing.
down. Sorry. Let's slow down. Start from beginning. Show me the upload again. I know you've explained that, but I just want to go through that in my mind. Okay.
Okay. So you open up your Accord forms. Yeah. Click your print button. Make sure Appellate Uplink reads right here. Print. Confirm your credentials for Appellate.
All right. Done. Now it's an Appellate. Okay.
And when you get to this screen, you just confirm what line of business you want to work on.
Apartment building, let's say.
So apartments, I don't know if you're trying to do a BOP or maybe just general liability.
General liability and property.
So do you want it packaged, or do you want to do separate lines of business?
Package is fine if they offer apartment building.
Well, that depends on how your carriers write them. So if they package them together, you can definitely choose package. It's really how your carriers write it.
But the reason I say property and liability is package usually are for preferred company, but BOP usually are preferred. But let's go property and liability.
Okay, so you can only choose one at a time if you're not doing package. So we'll just do property. If you click property first, Click continue. And then from right here, since you know you need to do general liability, there's a little arrow right here. Drop this down and create new request for quote or policy. And we're just going to add our general liability since we know we're going to quote them.
Okay.
So now you have 2 lines
Right.
that you'll go back and forth with.
Right.
So the next thing I recommend is just adding the markets you want to submit to.
Okay, let's press that, add market. All right.
So you choose whoever you want to.
Yeah, well, Progressive, they don't do that. But how do I know who does this type of insurance? Because so far the Appellate doesn't indicate that's an apartment building yet. It just say we need property and liability, right?
Well, I mean, my Accords weren't the best. I just did a 125, so it was very, I don't have any locations on my Accords or anything like that. But if you add your markets, because you're going to know your markets better than we will, so you know what markets would take an apartment complex. If you're looking, because all of your markets will show up right here. If you're looking to submit on this open brokerage market, again, it is based off of line of business and the location of your insured. So if they're here, it means they will write property. They might not write apartment after they review it, but if you want to just give it a shot, you could choose one of them.
And the other market is, I know those are open as, of course, you don't need appointment. Other market is what?
Other markets are just other markets from the available list that show right here. It's just the first 14.
Do you need appointment with them or no?
Yes, this section you do. Open brokerage, you do not.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
So let's say nationwide. You add your market. So for property, nationwide is an email submission. And we haven't gone over email submission. And I can if you want me to.
Okay.
Because there's 3 other submission styles that we haven't got to yet. You want me to go over those?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Okay. So that's okay. I'm going to go back to cycle works though. So the next submission style is e-submission. And as a standard user, you would also have access to this submission style. It is the globe with the paper scroll in front of it. And they're still partners with Appellate, just like Appellate style submission markets are. The difference is e-submission markets have carrier portals that they still want you to continue using, and that's absolutely fine. Appellate will actually bridge over the duplicate data housed in our system to that carrier portal for you.
Okay.
So Arrowhead is our example for e-submission. To initiate that, we're going to go to the right-hand side and click on Request Quote. And the system will then update your submission status to submission initiated, and a new button will show up that says Finish Submission. We're going to click on Finish Submission, and the system will open the carrier portal and populate all duplicate data from Appellate to the carrier portal. So I didn't click on anything, and that's because I had my credential information in that market login section. So it automatically logged me in and started inputting duplicate data from Appellate into this portal.
I see. Okay.
You want to make sure you review your submission and answer any questions that weren't duplicated. So there are some blank questions in here, and that's either because it wasn't filled out in Appellate or it's not a question that Appellate asks. So you do have to go through and make sure all of your questions are answered. But you'll continue clicking through the screens and allowing Appellate to turbocharge your submission by populating duplicate data in real time. I like to tell people once you leave the Appellate system into a portal, it's kind of business as normal as you are always used to doing in that system. So that means you'll still obtain your quote as you normally would. So whether it's through email or downloading on their website, whichever way you usually get it. But once you obtain a quote outside of Appellate, you want to make sure that you load it back into the Appellate system. So once you go through all of your pages right here and obtain your quote from Arrowhead, you'll go back into Appellate. All the way to the right-hand side are those 3 little dots. We're going to upload our quote. maybe. Give it a second to load. Okay, I'll go over this quote markup on the next submission style. But let's say you end up binding this Arrowhead quote directly on their website. Your quote was in here already. After you bind it, you want to come back into Appellate and mark it as bound to the right-hand side. The reason why you want to do this is because this ensures that your reports are accurate, as well as preparing the system for next year's renewal. Appellate can actually kickstart your renewal process by bringing forward all the information for your insured that you've already filled out from the year before and populate it into the new term. But to do this, you have to upload the quote and mark it as bound if you do in fact bind with that market directly.
Okay, but the one on the so we went to Arrowhead, right? So we fill up some information that's not listed in there. We answer those questions. How do you bring it back? You mentioned you have to bring it back to Appellate. How do they do that? Did they
so
send
you'll
an
get your
email
quote,
to us?
Yeah, you'll get your quote as you normally would for an e-submission market. So if it's travelers and you're used to downloading it on their website, you'll download it on their website once they have it quoted for you. So nothing on e-submission will show up back in Appellate like quotes. You have to download them or you get them through email. But once you get them from the website or the email, you just go over to the right-hand side and click those three dots and it'll say upload quote.
Repeat again. Upload. No, upload quote. So go. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll say. Sorry, it went away since I uploaded it. Yeah. Upload
okay,
quote.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So next is Weblink, and Weblink is a premium feature. So these next two submission styles you would lose access to if you go to standard. So Weblink is this colorful globe you see next to builders, and it's very similar to e-submission, but what makes them different is e-submission markets are considered in-network and Weblink markets are considered out-of-network. But the actual submission process will look extremely similar because they're both bridging duplicate data from Appellate to the carrier portal for you. So for Weblink, builders as our example, we'll go all the way to the right-hand side and click on Request Quote. But instead of clicking on Finish Submission like we did with e-submission, the system will open up the carrier window and you'll see the system start to run through the motions of autofilling data. Again, I'm not clicking on anything. I'm just letting it run its course. It does take a little bit longer than e-submission though. Once it pauses, that's when you can start to fill out any additional data that wasn't duplicate. So again, there are some required questions in here that are blank, and that's because it's either not filled out in Appellate or it's not a question that Appellate asks. On this one, you'll continue to click from one screen to the next and Appellate will autofill that data in real time. Weblink, you'll still obtain your quote as you normally would, just like e-submission. Once you get that quote back, you'll go back into Appellate. Builders is still our example. You'll go to the right-hand side, click those three little dots, upload your quote. John, do you by chance use IPFS for your finance agreements?
No, not yet.
Okay. So this quote markup you can ignore because we have partnered with IPFS to kind of streamline your billing, but it's only with IPFS for right now. So just escape this quote markup. And then if you end up binding that quote directly on Builder's website, just click Mark as Bound. The same reasons, your accurate reports, as well as kickstarting your renewal process.
Yeah. So it's almost the same. It's almost the same.
Yes, they're almost identical. They do look a little bit different, but the real big difference is e-submission has that extra step by clicking on finish submission, excuse me. But Weblink is a premium feature.
Okay.
But yes, they're very similar. Okay.
And what's the
last one is,
yeah, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, nope, that's okay. So ACE, so the last one is email, and that's this little envelope you see right here. I was an account manager for 8 years before I came to Appellate, so I had my fair share of marketing accounts, and I can tell you, email submission has one of my favorite features as an account manager. So, and I won't point that out to you, but I recommend adding your underwriter first. So whoever you use right now is who you would continue using. It doesn't matter if you're using Appellate or not. It's who you would always use for your submissions. So to do that, just click over on select. And then if you don't see them on this drop-down list, you can add them and they'll save for future use. But if you drop this down, you can actually have favorite contacts, so they will get bumped up to the top of this. But you could choose whoever your underwriter is.
Got it.
Once your underwriter is added, you'll just click on this request quote and your email will automatically generate for you. Again, highly recommend configuring your mail server before sending out any emails. But Appellate populates some documents in your email for you, but I am missing my last run. So I definitely want to include those on my email submission. So what you'll do is you'll click on add existing, and any documents that you have attached to this client will populate right here. You just check those little boxes and click save, and they show up under your attachments.
Okay.
You can also customize your email submissions if you want. I can show you where that is after I explain all of this, but you would just fill it out as you normally would. And if you're ready to submit this, you're within the acceptable time frame of this market, you'll just click on this submit now. But my favorite feature in email submission is, let's say you're marketing an account and you're outside of the time frame on one of those markets. Like say you're 2 weeks early, you can't submit it yet. Well, in 2 weeks, you really don't want to have to come back and revisit this account. You just want to move on to your next account. So what you can do in Appellate is you can actually schedule an email submission to be sent out at a specific date and time. So what you'll do is you'll just click on schedule submission. This gives you your location's current date and time. So if you click the little calendar, you can change it to whatever date you want. So let's say I'm 2 weeks out. I'll change it to the 17th. I will change the time to 12:01 a.m. I call it an insurance magic hour to block the market that morning. You'll click done, and then you'll click schedule and submit. Once you click schedule and submit, the system will schedule that email, and the status for that market will be changed to scheduled. So you'll see it, the status for ACE is now scheduled. Another place I like to show people, I kind of briefly showed you, is this activity section right here. So not only is this a time-stamped log of everything you've done so far regarding this submission, you can see that the last activity is the scheduling of my email. So when I get into the office on the 17th, let's say I get in at 8 o'clock in the morning, I log into Appellate, there will be a new activity in here. That's the sending of my email submission to ACE. So I don't have to come back and revisit this account. I was able to just schedule it and Appellate sends it out for me.
Usually in my case, on expiration date or renewal date, I submitted maybe a month or 2 months before. So why would you do it on the expiration date? I'm assuming that this February 17 is the expiration date for the policy, I guess, right?
So some markets have, like some markets you can't quote within 90 days. But some markets, maybe they're 120 days. So if you want to start working on the 120-day market, but you don't want to have to come back in a month to work on the other 90-day markets, you can schedule it so it'll go out at that 90-day mark instead of having to come back and do it yourself.
Yeah, and those information we have to kind of find out from the insurance company in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with people that were 45 days, some people that were 60, 90. Yeah. It really just depends on the market.
I usually do 60 days. Yeah. Okay.
So if you're like ahead of schedule and you want to type up some email submissions, you can schedule them to go out at those 60 days if you wanted to.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So real quick, if you go into setup right here, there's this email template option. This is where you can customize your templates. So I know everybody kind of does their email submissions differently, so you can definitely customize templates and you can have multiple ones to choose from. So if you have different templates for different carriers, you can create however many you want.
You can put a logo in there too, right? Logo.
Yes, you can. If you go under setup and settings, you can put your logo right here.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So email submission, that is also another premium feature that you would lose out on if you went into standard.
Got it. Okay. Good.
So that's really all of the workflow that I have for you. So I'll show you where some resources are for you now. So at the top is this help center. I always recommend people start in this video tutorial section. So these are pre-recorded videos. They're anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes long, but they're here to show you how to do something. So if you forget how to do something, chances are we have a short little YouTube clip for you to look at. So you can scroll through here and look at all of the different ones we have. I always tell people, most people have 2 screens on their workstation these days, so you can have this YouTube video up on one side and follow along in your system on the other side.
Got it. Yeah.
There's also webinars. So if you click on webinars, there is premium webinars every Tuesday and standard webinars on Thursdays. There's no cost. It's for you to kind of just sit back and watch the training and see it in its entirety. So it would be kind of what I went over today, but you just get to sit back and watch it.
Right. So premium, there's only premium and free, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay, good. So, all right. This premium is like $75 a month, I believe.
Yes, it depends on how many users you have.
1 user.
Yeah, 1 user. I would have to double check, but
yeah,
right now I could. Yeah, give me just a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are $75 a month. You do have 2 users in here. Does Jerry use it at all?
But Jerry is no longer working for us. How much is 1 user?
I will disable him. 1 user. So right now you are at 75, but 1 user, we're actually auditing accounts right now. We had to increase our fee a little bit. So 1 user would go up to $100.
Oh, 1 user.
If you sign a 12-month contract.
Oh, because I was offered 75 a month.
Yeah, well, give me just a second. Hold on, let me check on that.
Yeah, thank you.
I think actually, no, 1 user would still be 75. I'm sorry.
Oh, 1 user would be.
You would stay at your, yes, you would stay at your current rate if you stuck with premium.
Right. Yeah. Can you disable Jerry, because Jerry is no longer working for us?
Yes,
he
he is
retired.
already disabled.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. Okay. And what's the reports?
And if you ever, what was that?
Reports.
Report. So you would just go under reports. There is request to quote. You can look at your reports of submissions.
Okay.
Your entire book of business. Quite a few different things. So if you do submissions, you can see. Like I don't have really much in here to show you because I don't have.
Right. Do you work with Zapier?
Is that a market?
Zapier is it's, I guess, integrating, or it's kind of putting all information between the agency management system and yours. Zapier.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Zapier. It's a program where it will it will connect between 2 different databases, like 2 different program or something.
Okay, I don't think so, but I'll double check on that for you. Okay. I've only been with Appellate since June, so I'm still learning quite a bit myself. But I'll ask, and when I have an answer, I will email you the answer when I send you the link to this recording.
Okay. Now, let's say I have a apartment building right now. I want to know what markets available without filling up the quote form. Is that possible?
Yeah. So what you would do if you don't want to fill out the accord forms, just add new customer. So let's say test apartments. You'd fill out whatever you want right here. and then you'll create. And then the next one, you give them a line of business. So let's say you're just going to do property. If you do package, I'll show you this really quick. When you do package, you have to select the subline. So you'll have to choose property and general liability if you're doing a package. Change the dates if you need to, and then you'll click continue. Obviously, I don't have much in here, but I don't have any schedules of hazards or subjects of insurance.
Yeah, that's a 2
if
million.
you don't,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a great way to edit this section is clicking on this edit in Excel right here. Not this one, sorry, but locations. If you edit in Excel, you can fill out all of this information, type of a construction, year built, all that you would need for your apartment building, total square footage, fire protection class. There's also years of improvement. So if you edit in Excel, you can input all of this information. And once you click this save right here, it'll automatically come back and save in here with all of the information that you input on that edit in Excel.
Oh, could you show me again one more time? Excel, and then you say save. And then
yep. So you'll edit in Excel. Mine's broken, so it's not the best example. But
so what would save? Where do you put save? Save. Let's see, got information.
So you'll just click this little up top.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Save.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
And
so this is simpler in a way.
Yes, it is. And if you have a couple of locations, you can, input, whatever.
Right. That's nice.
And mine's broken. It won't go. But
that's fine.
If I did put 3 locations in here and I saved it, there would be 3 locations in here. And same with subjects of insurance, you can edit in Excel and put the building number and the amount you want.
That's simple, yeah. Okay.
Yep. Same with schedule of hazards.
Right.
I know I kind of got off track. What was your question about markets?
So basically, okay, you got this. I want to know what market or what insurance company is specifically for apartment building.
I mean, we don't have specific ones that break out apartments.
So I guess we have to want to choose which one we think will do that, right?
Yes, we do have a submission matrix in our system though, so you can see what type of submission style is a BOP or who writes package or property and what type of submission they are. This is kind of the best way to kind of gauge that. It's either going to be a package, BOP, or each line individually, but we don't break it out specifically by risk type.
Where did you get that?
I have this. I'll put this in the chat box so you can have it. Let me go back into.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, what's Appellate content? Okay.
There you go.
Oh, that's sent to the chat box. Okay, well, yeah, it's recorded anyway.
Through Zoom. Yes. So that's really it. Any questions for me? Oh, another thing I wanted to show you. If you click on the logo in the upper left-hand corner, down at the bottom are these 2 little bubbles down here. This is a live chat option with our support team. They're super knowledgeable. I talk to them multiple times a week. But if you're kind of stuck on something and you need help in the moment, if somebody is online, you can live chat with them. If you end up seeing premium.
They can also see my screen if needed to, right?
What was that? Sorry.
They can also see my screen if needed to.
I'm not sure about that, but if you end up staying premium, I will be your account manager. So if you get stuck on something, feel free to email me as well. I'm happy to jump on Zoom and look at your screen and see what's going on.
Okay, you can see my screen. If of course, I think I allow that. So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to try to submit one apartment building. Okay. I have another one, vacant land, that's coming. And then I'll see the rest, I have once, I think. Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Send me the link.
Yes, I will. I do have to convert it into a YouTube link, so it might not be until tomorrow, but
Oh,
I
that's
will
fine.
definitely get you the link.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for your help.
All
Appreciate
right.
that,
Thanks for your
Jessica.
time, John. I
No
really
problem.
appreciate you taking the time.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.